Hi everyone, this is Laura Bag at OG Starwars, and I am coming to you on an early coffee chat, a Tuesday morning one. I was planning to do a nightcap tonight, and I just got notification that I have family coming in and I have crap to do. So please grab your coffee, whatever you're drinking, your tea, your eye opener, and share what you're having this morning with me. Even if it's something totally different like water or soda or whatever floats your boat. Share with me in the comments. Hi Chaos, hi Alex, how you guys doing? Thank you guys. I know this is a very unscheduled or very last minute decision on doing a coffee chat. And so today we'll just cover a little bit of lore, and we'll talk about the jetpacks that are in Star Wars lore, with the revelation of the TV spot that Disney put out for Rise of Skywalker. Also, we'll talk about JJ's confessing that the script was leaked and how foolish that is. And also, I did a video yesterday, and yesterday was quite chaotic a little bit on the video end of that production and downloading. So I did a video on, her name is Liz Miller, and she was talking about how exhausted she feels about being a Star Wars fan, basically, in short. And so I went to go break that video down. The very first video was kick-ass. It had some great sarcastic commentary in there, everything. And I went to go get it ready, edit it to get it ready to be uploaded, and I lost half the video. All right. Hi, Alex. Chaos. All right. So Chaos says mine is black today. Ran out of creamer and sugar. Oh wow, you're going strong on that, huh? You know, when I go up to the mountains hunting, camping or whatever, my coffee, I usually just drink it straight, straight black coffee. At home, I really don't have any dairy. And so I only do a coconut creamer, just a little bit of that just goes a long way. Do you think that the stormtroopers are catching up to clone troopers in that clip? Do you mean as in like the advancement of like having jetpacks and stuff, or do you think that they are having clone troopers now in the lore, in the Disney lore? So expand on that a little bit more, Alex. I'm going to highlight you real quick. You know, when you look at the evolution of stormtroopers, they basically come, and I need to put a curtain up on that window and stuff, but they the evolution of the stormtroopers, basically they came from the clone troopers, which clone troopers were mirrored off of Mandalorians. And so that's the evolution of that. And so you would think that even in Disney canon, because the Clone Wars is now canon to that lore now, that wouldn't be a new revelation of using a jetpack, you know. So the history's there, that, you know, you have. So we'll expand on that more in a little bit in a few seconds here. So let's wait a couple more minutes. Maybe some people will pop in, maybe not, maybe it'll just be us, you know, and that's fine. And we'll see. Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to post this up here and I'll read it. I get you now. What I mean is that, do you think the stormtroopers are becoming as skilled as the clones? That's funny how you mentioned that, because it, you know, it feels like there's a regression in the lore when it comes to stormtroopers, after the use of clones was dismissed, I guess you can say, and they stopped using clones and they started using humans. So I don't, maybe not. We have yet to see. It, to me, they look like the same old stormtroopers viewing. So we shall see. We shall see. All right. So let's go ahead and start on one of the articles that I wanted to share with you guys this morning. And it's about J.J. Abrams talking about the script being taken from an actor's bed. Hello. Okay, let's get this up here. Not to screen. Hello. Screen. Hello. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and review this. Hi, Luke Skywalker. How you doing? I hope you have your mug out and ready, full of chocolate. All right. So we're gonna just recap on JJ. I heard this last night or yesterday, and like I said yesterday, it was basically I had tons of technical difficulty uploading one video, so I just kind of gave up on the world after that when it came to uploading videos. And so we're going to go ahead and touch bases on that right now, on what JJ had confessed. So here we go. There we go. All right. So Star Wars director J.J. Abrams revealed that the Rise of Skywalker script leaked after actor left it under the bed. So what I find interesting about that is that when you look back when they were producing The Force Awakens, and if you've seen that interview of Mark Hamill talking about reading the script and saying that he was like waiting for his part to come in, and he was like, joking about like, oh, is the lightsaber going to come to me, when they were on Starkiller, and realizing that he only has that last bit of, scene at the end of the movie. And in that interview, he talks about how he got the script and how much it's guarded and how he had to check it out and stuff. So this kind of is, I don't know if this is going to be just a ploy because maybe they're not liking what they're doing with, or the direction they're going, or they are trying to put blame somewhere, or if this is just a trolling, who knows. So it's so basically J.J. Abrams has revealed that the script of the upcoming Star Wars film was leaked online after cast member left copy under the bed. And so I find that really, really funny, and it's just very, very careless and unprofessional on all ends. The Star Wars director explained on Good Morning America that the script for the upcoming film was posted on eBay after it was discovered by a cleaner at one of the actors' houses. And so how we basically, you can probably leak the house cleaner to the actor. So I wonder who it is. I wonder if it's someone that feels a little bit salty about the direction or their role in the Rise of Skywalker, or how Disney's taking Star Wars. Who knows? Whilst Abrams wouldn't reveal who the actor was, he did note that Disney employees spotted the script online and got it back before it sold. Abrams said one of the actors, I won't say which one, I want to, but I won't, left it under the bed, and it was found by someone who was cleaning their place. Abrams told Good Morning America, he added, and it was given to someone else who then went to sell it on eBay. All right, so that's the revelation on that. And so let's see what you guys think here. I just got Donald Trump's face on my nails. Looks awesome. Wow, okay. Right. Hi, Biden Touch. How are you doing? Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, you guys, let me know what you think about that little revelation of the script leak and the house cleaner. You would think that because these scripts are so guarded, especially in such a huge franchise and a movie that's ending the series of movies that are based upon the Skywalkers, as they call it now, which the Skywalker saga, you would think that it would be more heavily guarded. You would think that maybe the actor or actress would have put it in a safe, not under the bed. That's just very careless. Did Yoda teach Luke all the lightsaber forms? I know that I think it was expanded that, Yoda taught Luke some lightsaber technique while training on Dagobah. So, and also too, in the journal that Obi-Wan had left Luke, that Luke discovered, there were different forms of lightsaber techniques in that too as well. All right, let's go to this one here. Another thing that I find weird in they admit that it was brought back by Disney bought back by Disney employees. So if that is the case, why would you reveal it at all? Exactly. You wouldn't, and that's the point I wanted to come to, is that if it was caught already before it was sold, I wonder how much of a leak was it? So are the leaks that we're seeing, is it from that? So are those leaks truly true? Are they revealing? So is this guilt? Like they like, oh crap, it got out, it's out there, and we need to find it. So I would love to know how it was discovered on eBay. And I know they have a bunch of people on the internet searching and making sure nothing's revealed. I mean, they have their task force out there basically. And so I find it interesting that it was found and then it was revealed to the public what was going on. So is this just a trolling? Is this just a lie? Is this something to counter any leaks that's been going on? So what do you guys think about that? Because there's Palpatine, how Kennedy was saying that Palpatine was her idea, or that they were bringing him in from the beginning, and then Trevorrow basically said no when I had my story written or developed for it before he got fired. Palpatine wasn't in the picture. And so we're seeing lying. There's lying and mistruth, half truths with this. And so how true is this? Is just this another publicity stunt? How, again, because the scripts are so guarded, why was the script put under the bed then? Why wasn't it put in a safe place, safekeeping? Did the person who was reading the script pass out on their bed and the script just fell on the floor underneath the bed? Who knows? I'm just throwing scenarios out there because I can't fathom something that valuable being left carelessly in your home like that, to have your maid discover. And because it's such a valuable thing and they don't want leaks, then you would basically even keep that from your maid. So it's just very careless and dumbfounding, I guess you can say. All right, so any more thoughts on that? Let me take a sip. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. I'm gonna clip out of that one here, and let's go ahead and talk about that one article. What am I doing? That is from that Liz Miller. So let me go ahead and get this going. Okay, so this is off of 10.medium.com, and this article is from Liz Shannon Miller. And like I said, I had a wonderful review on this article here, just going over what she has to say about being exhausted with Star Wars as a woman. And then, like I said, I lost half of it and I had to redo some of it. And so my video has different light settings and all that because of that. And that's just how it goes sometimes. So we're going to go ahead and look into that. And then we can touch bases on both of those articles here one more time. So it's a trap. Why loving Star Wars as a woman is endlessly exhausting. The Mandalorian is another reminder that something vital is missing from the galaxy far, far away. And again, this is Liz Shannon Miller, and that kind of gives you an idea of what she looks like or an idea of her. And so I try to cover the whole article in my first initial video, and then when I re-recorded it, I skimmed through it until I got to the part where I could salvage. So basically, she rehashes on how she feels about Star Wars. So all you ever want is for Star Wars to be good. That's it. That's all you want. You want to watch great stories taking place in a galaxy far, far away. A galaxy which, oh, this should 2 sentences. Okay. A galaxy which has felt like home to you since you were old enough to process stories. Like so many, you come to Star Wars as a child, and it still makes you feel that way every time you hear the music or see X-Wing fighters. Your brain is filled with the names of fictional planets and characters and species. You know when to look for Wilrow Hood in Empire Strike Back. You took a motherfucking class on George Lucas in college, for which you read Joseph Campbell and learn about Ray Harryhausen and watch Kurosawa. Yeah, I probably butchered that. And wrote a paper on the thematic connections between American Graffiti and A New Hope. You nearly started crying when you walked around Galaxy's Edge and definitely shed a tear while rushing through the Millennium Falcon there. All right. So I have to crack up with that. And when she was talking about, shedding tears while walking around in Galaxy's Edge there. And, I have not been there yet. I was at Disneyland like a couple weeks ago, but basically not inside the park. And I was kind of curious to go in to check that out. But basically, it's not, from what I hear in the reviews, it's not Star Wars. And so it makes me laugh about that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and recap on some of these comments here. Yay, the way the Mark Hamill described it is that they wouldn't even leave it with the actors. Yeah, so that's a great point. So going back on the other article, yes. All right, let's go this one. Oh God, the woman who took dance lessons to learn to use a lightsaber, and it probably costs more than actual fencing lessons. So uncivilized. Yeah. And so we'll get to that. I'll skim through it a little bit more, but I wanted to initially read that one part there because, she comes off as this avid Star Wars fan, and she probably is. And good for her, but it just kind of, as you read into the article, she turns into a hypocrite, I think. Okay. Konnichiwa, lovely Lakota lady. Thank you so much. Good morning. How are you doing? All right, so let's go back to the article here. All right, so let's go ahead and read this part here. Because Star Wars is a vast media universe, you have your gaps. Okay, so this is where I have a problem with that, because yes, it's a vast media universe, but when it was George Lucas's era, no matter if it was the films or the books or whatever, everything seamlessly went into each other in the storyline, and as well as the foundation, which is the movies. And so there was really no initial gaps. I mean, yeah, we could expand it on a few stories here and there. And I think Lucasfilm at the time was doing that, especially in the Legacy era with Sword of the Jedi and a few video games coming out, 1313 and all that. So there wasn't really any gaps. And so let's just read the article and I'll get to my point. You've only read a few novels, haven't finished watching all of the CGI Clone Wars series, Filoni's Clone Wars, I'm guessing, and know about the Knights of the Old Republic games largely through osmosis. Okay. And sometimes put too few C's in Sarlacc pit. Fortunately, there's Google, and I stated this on my video. There is also Wikipedia, so that you know that there's more than just what you're telling us here, like with the characters, expansion, all that. You tend to not beat yourself up about that, largely because your brain is also packed with Doctor Who and Star Trek trivia. And also, one of the best things about Star Wars is that vastness, how it contains more than anyone could possibly comprehend. And I agree with that. I really truly do. Hi, the Rookie Critic. How you doing? It's going good here. Just got my coffee and chatting here with you guys a little bit about Star Wars news, and then we're going to go into the jetpacks. Oh, thank you so much. All right, so let's go back to the article. And this is where it gets fun. However, one thing you have been keenly aware of from your earliest days on the planet is that Star Wars universe does not contain many girls. Yes. Let's think about that real quick. Expanded universe, and she said she read novels. She says that it's vast, and she watched off and on the Clone Wars. And so what is she saying here? Is that no girls? I mean, what the hell is she watching compared to all of us? And the closest a female Jedi got to speaking in the prequels was Scream as she was murdered. All right. So with that, in the prequels, and as a woman who loves Star Wars, it didn't matter to me that they maybe had one woman in there. And actually in the prequels, they had two women, actually 3 or 4, because we had Padme with her guards. And then we had Shmi, we had the librarian, and we had all the female Jedis who came to the rescue of Padme, Obi-Wan, and Anakin. Hi, Tommy. How you doing? All right, so let's go to the article here. And then in the expanded universe, of course, we have all the wonderful characters from non-Force users like Winter and Ayala, to Sith, to even Jedi, and beyond. And so it's just very confusing the way she makes it sound vast and that she's knowledgeable for her to say something like that. So let's read on. Whoops, wrong one. Okay. And of course, there's Princess Leia, the only Disney princess you've ever needed. And to me, she's never been a Disney princess and will never be that. She is much better. In fact, in our expanded universe legends, she is a badass Jedi Knight as well. The woman who gave as good as she got to her torturers and rescuers alike, who got to be a part of the adventures you yearned to enjoy, and you appreciated Padme Amidala for her spunk and headdress, even if you never really got over her dying because she has lost the will to live. Let me take a drink here. I had a cold last week, at the end of last week, and so right now I'm just still working through that a little bit with all the little hang-ups that colds could leave you after you get better. All right, so what do you think about that with her addressing Padme being spunky and wearing a headdress? For me, she was more than that. This woman is so pro-woman in the industry and in the movies that she basically fails to even mention, Padme had vital role. She was a senator. She was also the queen of her world at one point, the youngest as well. And of course, she addresses how, basically she didn't like how Padme Padme went down with, dying, from the will to live. And yes, I agree that could have been expanded a little bit more better. I think there's other underlying factors that, from trauma from Anakin force choking her and stuff, but that's never really fully explained because we only get the medbot telling us what's going on. Let me see here, Tommy. Yes, doing well. Doing really well. Just getting ready for the holidays here. That's why we're here Tuesday instead of Thursday. All right. Let's see here. I think it means more that few women in Star Wars. I think it means more that the few women in Star Wars are far more impactful than the ones introduced to the sequels. Yeah, you have a good point. When Kathleen Kennedy had that vision of opening Star Wars up and expanding it further to us women, us girls, because she felt that we were basically the minority, and maybe in a sense we were, but we were there. And in the beginning, she made it sound like we were basically non-existent. And so that's why I'm here too as well, giving you guys legends, and opened up my YouTube channel because I want to let you guys know that we are here and we've always been here, and that we don't need to be pandered and catered to like Kennedy's doing. All right, so let's go back to the article. Okay, but for decades, when you watched the movies, you kept noticing how rarely women spoke, and how there were Mon Mothma and a few other non-princess running around. Non-princess, so because it's now Disney, maybe, and what have you, that if they're non-princess, they're not as capable. I mean, what is she trying to get out at here? Okay, sure. But the closest a female Jedi got to speaking in the prequels, basically goes back to that highlighted thing, is excuse me. There we go. Was when she was murdered. And yeah, you notice that with the same part of your brain that grew up conditioned to think that one girl in a story was more than enough girls. Okay, so let's address that. Let's address that. Excuse me. I really don't think that we were conditioned to think that having one woman or girl in a excuse me, in a franchise or in a movie or whatever, or as a main character, I don't think we were conditioned to think that was okay, or I don't even think that was a factor with me. So I'm speaking on my own experience. Man, I'm just falling apart here. Hold on. All right. So I don't think that was ever a problem or a concern of mine. I just went in to watch the story, to see the development, to see the characters I grew up loving. And I didn't care. I wasn't there keeping track of gender. I was there about the story, about the characters that are being portrayed in front of me. I didn't care if it was a man. I didn't care if it was a different species or a different gender. All I cared about is the storyline going from plot A to plot B, and the impact that it has on me while watching it. All right. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so she gets sarcastic here. So she's all basically, thank you very much. And that, no, instead of being a Ninja Turtle, you get to be the reporter who follows them around. All right, so she has some issues here about women being portrayed in even in cartoon movies and stuff. April Neal wore a very cool jumpsuit, of course. It looked both stylish and comfortable, but sometimes, damn it, you wanted to be the one swinging the nunchucks or the bow staff. And so I'll address that right there again. Do it. You didn't have to basically be you could still be Raffaella or whatever and still do that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with role playing that way and having fun and just having imagination. You didn't have to be specific gender to do that. Growing up, you wanted to swing a lightsaber too, and here we go. So, feeling a feeling that has never really gone away. You might have once in your late 20s gone to a public park to take lightsaber class organized by a group of a group known as LA Jedi. You might have even brought a PVC pipe at your local hardware store afterwards so you could practice some of the moves you learned there, but you never really kept up with your lightsaber studies and you regret it. So here we go. So my thing on that is I think that's wonderful that she expanded herself on the lore and decided to participate in a group such, learning how to use the lightsaber or have fun with that and whatever they were teaching there. And I'm going to go with this. I think the person who led that group failed her in a sense. And why I say that is because that person never really gave her a sense of like, you can cosplay and be these amazing characters in that is from expanded universe. You could be Sith, you can be Jedi, you can portray and cosplay any one of those characters. And yeah, so I think that the person who ran the group kind of failed her on that. Let's see what you guys have to say. All right, I'm gonna go to Tommy's first and then we'll go to Benjamin. There were more women Jedis and such in prequels. This is just a modern day pandering. That's exactly right. And we're getting into it because this article gets to Mandalorian. So this is not the same woman that complained about the Mandalorian. This is a different woman. And I think that she was inspired to write this because of that. Okay. Reality. Vader's Western dueling base stance from A New Hope, from the OT, and later Luke's in reality would trump and annihilate all the forms. The forms are just kendo dance moves, except, yeah. And let's see here. Dueling, basic dueling stance, low guard. Yeah, and I remember I watched Jesse Milestone's take on the prequel versus the OT in dueling, and basically also just tearing down the Disney trilogies, dueling with lightsabers. And so that's, if you want to check that out, you can find that on her YouTube channel, and that breaks it down even more. It's wonderful to watch. My point, if you want to learn sword art, study fencing. Exactly. And that's it. And I think when George did the OT, basically he did have, someone experienced in fencing to teach, and it shows in that. All right, let's get back to the article. All right. Okay, so this gets into when she sees Rey and how excited she gets, and with the lightsaber, and she's not a Jedi Knight. I have never ever considered Rey a Jedi, not one single bit. As a woman that loves Star Wars, and just as a Star Wars fan in general, just taking the gender completely out of it, I just cannot, I don't have any interest in Rey. There's nothing compelling about her that makes me feel to be attached to her. Not like seeing Luke for the first time, even Han and Leia, not like seeing the original three at at one point in my life, when I first started watching as a young girl. And then also when the PT came out, then we had Anakin and Obi-Wan and Padme, and I still felt significant attachment to them because of the story and how well they are written and how well the lore was had a continuity. And with this, it's just there's nothing interesting about her. She's already accomplished everything she needs to just in one story. And that is in The Force Awakens, you know, A New Hope 2.0. All right. And so then she explains about you got added to a Twitter moment, the most ironic of all punishments for tweeting, because it leads to so many fun strangers wanting to tell you things. You are so sick of guys bringing up Ahsoka. So this is where the hypocrite comes in, the hypocrisy comes in. You are so sick of guys bringing up Ahsoka Tano. By the way, yes, she's a great character, a singular great character in a series that has maybe a quarter of the impact in a live action blockbuster film has on pop culture. Next up, why should there be any more Black people in Star Wars? Lando's already there. Okay, so she's now she's being a hypocrite about wanting more women representation and speaking in the Star Wars movies, yet, and in the lore, and yet now she's pissed because guys are talking about Ahsoka Tano. So what is it, lady? You know, what is it? Is it pro women or what? You know, so what's your stance on here? All right. Kylo, Western great sword for some reason. Laugh aloud. It's silly. Whoops. Whoa, that was a big jump. Okay. Okay. Okay, we have a discussion going on here, and I'm going to go ahead and click out of that and finish reading this article, and we're going to go to the jetpacks. So let's do this. Again, cheers. Sorry for the congestion I'm having. It sucks. All right. And then she panders about Lando and about people saying, oh, why should we have any more Black people? Because we have Lando. And again, as a person of minority, you know, I could probably touch up on this as well. I didn't watch Star Wars or any other movies or get into franchise to count how many women were in there, to keep track of that, or even how diverse it was. In fact, you know, I could care less that there's no natives in there. I mean, because it's not about the species or the human race that we have going on here. It's about a galaxy far, far away that has, humans in there and also different species. So that's what I care about. And again, all you ever wanted was Star Wars to be good. You have loved it your entire life. After all, unconditional love, however, is not blind love. All you ever want for Star Wars is to be good, and sometimes you want it to be better. All right, so she speaks about unconditional love, and that's one thing that I really touched bases on in the video before I lost half of it, and this was like towards the end. And she says it's about unconditional love, but she's adding condition to why she loves conditions to Star Wars herself. She's adding conditions by saying, I want there to be more women, I want this and I want that, and I'm very disappointed, and just by her judgment. So there's no unconditional love in this, because unconditional love, you just love it for what it is. You have no judgments whatsoever about that. And so this again goes into her hypocrisy. All right, so let's get to the Mandalorian part here, and then the jetpacks. All right, so a great way to transition. So you sit down to watch The Mandalorian on Disney Plus this week, and you want to love it for so many reasons. And it's been turning out to be a good season, you know, or a good series. I do have my, you know, some things that I'm like, they're regressing a little bit on Mandalorians, you know, when you look at the lore and the bigger picture, but we're not going to talk about that here. You love the way in which the franchise is looking beyond the Skywalker saga, and I dislike that term Skywalker saga, because it's Star Wars saga, and everything is connected to the movies, and the movies are connected to everything inside the franchise. It's not just one singular thing, and then we have Star Wars. It's all interconnected. To explore the universe, again, it's not that you don't like the Clone Wars, and really you should finish watching. So this is her think bubble, watching it now that it's on Disney Plus, especially because apparently Ahsoka Tano is a great character. So now she steps back in what she just previously said about Ahsoka Tano. Okay. You love the casting choices. Please, God, let there eventually be a scene where Carl Weathers gets his stew going. And you love the inclusive filmmakers working behind the scenes. And so I'm going to point out here, it shouldn't matter about gender, about who's working behind scenes and their gender, as long as they know what they're doing. And that's what counts. And I'd rather have that than pandering to gender just to have the diversity behind filmmaking. And then she puts us here. You also know that this show isn't called The Mandalorian and His Merry Bands of Inclusive Pals. So we're going to get into that and then move on. And then you watch it and you're enjoying it, and then 20 minutes in, a woman speaks and you realize that she's the first woman to speak in the entire episode. So here we go. Holy crap. All right. And then you get to the end credits and you see that character voiced by Emily Swallow is listed as armorer, which is a badass profession. And in the Mandalorian culture, that person who does and works the Beskar is revered, because you need to have that skill and that labor to work that type of metal. And she's the only damn woman to speak in the entire episode. So let's get on that, and we're going to close out on this one. Now breathe. All right. Excuse me. So when watching The Mandalorian, we know it's Western style. So there's a lot more of body posturing, all that, a lot less talking, unless it's direct talking and to the point. And so we only get those who need to talk at the time to make the point. And so when the Mando goes to get the Beskar, turn in the Beskar and get some armor made, we have her, and we have a woman who is the armor or the smith, and she's crafting the armor. And to me, that is friggin' badass. Just like if you were, someone making glass, that's a lot, like blown glass and doing glass art, that takes a lot of skill, and it's such a tough profession. And so she needs to give credit where credit's due when it comes on this. Yes, stop taking counts on where the women are, because then you're taking yourself out of the experience. All right, let's go back here one more time, and then we'll go to the jetpacks. Jetpacks, yes. All right. Let me see here. So she just talks about getting responses to her tweets and stuff, and then she also concludes right here of like, you're sure they're going to play badass characters, and even if they're not the focus of the story, you also know that the show isn't called The Mandalorian and His Band of Merry or Inclusive Pals. And so again, it doesn't matter. When you look at the culture with bounty hunters, we bounty hunting is such a tough profession that we don't have that many women in it, and I don't care. When you look at the prequel trilogy, and she forgets to note that there was a bounty hunter woman in the prequel trilogy as well. So, and she basically completed her mission and got caught, and then was killed because of that. So it went, Liam back to where who she came from and who hired her and everything. And so she fails to see that as well. And in this Mandalorian, we are only on the 3rd episode. And what if the baby is a female? Not a male, but what if it's a female? So again, she's just, basically being a social justice warrior, keeping track of what woman has that, and being pissy about everything. Okay, let's see here. Let's read some of the comments here. I know you guys have a good discussion going on here. Okay, bounty hunter is tough. Transdorians points. Do Trandorians still use points in the new canon? I don't know. You know, like there's a lot that's been taken away when they decided to take away the EU, the original EU. Okay, so for Afterworlds, okay, Trandorians use a point system for Afterworld. All right. But again, so you know, with this coming of Mandalorians, the series here, we have yet to see like what they're going to keep intact or keep, you know, pull out of Legends to keep consistent. And whatever my thing is, whatever they used in the Clone Wars, we'll see probably from here on forth with this series here. They still had it in Clone Wars. Okay, yeah, then yes, and that's what I was getting at. Is like whatever was put into Clone Wars, because Clone Wars is now one of those things where it's kind of like a quasi kind of canon where it could still be Legend, but then it still can be Disney EU, and so it's got that blurry gray lines to it. All right, so let's go on to the jetpacks here. And so I'm not going to show the clip from the TV spots of the latest Rise of Skywalker clip. But what do you guys think about that? Because we see them being chased by the stormtroopers, and basically they have wheels on land, which is kind of weird because, and I've so far, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't recall any vehicles having wheels touching the land. And they always had the repulsor lifts on them to have them over land. And so seeing them on land and then used as a catapult to catapult the stormtrooper then as he fires his jetpack was kind of funny to me. And so let's expand on that. Okay, Tommy, let's see what you have to say. Hi, Soul Assassin, how you doing? Thank you for coming in. I think it's dumb to add it now after never using it at this point. Yeah, it's what was dumber was the reaction of Finn and Poe and them saying they could fly now. Or they fly now, especially with Finn, who was basically kidnapped, in the lore, kidnapped and raised as a stormtrooper for the First Order. You would think that because, you know, you're going into a military faction, that you would know basically all the divisions that's in there, the armory, everything that's used or could be used depending on the division that you're in. First Order is suffering from, okay, whoops, wrong one. The First Order is suffering from Sith redistribution of their wealth. Their speeder budget went into Death Star lasers on Star Destroyers, Star heads, sorry. Yeah, and so, yeah, we have that in the leaks that, you know, there are Star Destroyers that have the Death Star lasers on there, you know. And it kind of reminds me of Austin Powers, you know, like the laser beams kind of thing, you know. Yeah, and so when we're going back to the stormtroopers here, and do we think that maybe now that we are in this new era of Star Wars and it's 40-30 years after Return of the Jedi, is it possible that they are now well trained than they were before? Okay, so yeah, but stormtroopers can't shoot or drive, so why jetpacks? Can they even catapult him to the right area? You know, if they can't shoot straight, can they catapult him to the right area? I don't know. Imagine that, you know, catapulting and they're missing their target still. Sorry, that I just have that in my head, and I'm like, you know, seeing them. And but then also, what's the use of the catapult when you have a jetpack? And then when the guy was in the beginning of that clip, the guy was basically sending out a message, and you've seen the jetpack on him. Why aren't they just flying to them instead of being catapulted? Why aren't they just flying to them? Let's see here. Okay, let's see here. The trailer is absolutely ridiculous. I agree. Tommy, let's Disney, let's include Peter Pan dialogue in new Star Wars. They can fly. I believe I can fly. Yeah. Surprised they don't just have the song. True. Let's read here. Haha, I guess so. They should have took shooting classes. And, you know, I think that's funny, you know, like again, with the lore about the stormtroopers and stuff. And again, going back to the jetpacks. So let's take a look here. So this has both, this is Wikipedia, because this has all the books that they are listed in an appearance of the jetpacks. And a lot of younger soldiers thought we ought to be zipping around the battlefield on jetpacks, but one direct hit and you're grounded, maybe forever. So that's Bren. So this expounds on the jetpacks here. And again, I'm looking at Legends, and we'll go look at you know, at the canon part too. So here, right here is the whole list. I was like, I wanted to write this all down and share with you, but I'm like, let's just go ahead and look up Wikipedia, because all the appearances are on there of the EU and even movies. So we have it going back to Dawn of the Jedi, Knights of the Old Republic, and then, you know, when Hope deceived, the Old Republic deceived Fatal Alliance. And then Insider also has that too. And let's go down, you know, Jango Fett, of course, because again, the Mandalorians are the ones that, you know, introduced the jetpacks. And, you know, the Galactic Battlefront 2, Boba Fett Hunted, the Clone Wars, and the Clone Wars films, and the Clone Wars. So we have it both Clone Wars film, and the Clone Wars. So we have in all the production of Clone Wars, whether it's Filoni's or Travasky's. And here's all the information here on that. So you see there's an extensive use in history of the jetpacks. So let's go ahead and take a look. And it goes all the way into Dark Empire, all the way to Legacy of the Force, Bloodline, the Sacrifice, Fate of the Jedi, Abyss. So it goes all the way into the end before the buyout. Let's look at canon. That's badass. Look at that. All right. Again, there's no expansion here. So here we go here. So in canon, there's not that much expansion other than what we see here. And they have non-canon canon appearances. Basically, that's Legends now. So we have a Master Apprentice. We have Battlefront 2, Age of the Republic, Jango Fett 1. These are supposed to be Disney canon now. So we have all the Clone Wars here, Darth Maul, Rebels. So there we go. So it's been used in Rebels as well. Let's see how far this goes in the timeline here. Aftermath. So then it gets into Aftermath, The Mandalorian, Chapter 3. And then we have Before the Awakening, the Poe Dameron looks like the comics. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, appearances in hologram. And then the expanded edition. So this goes against its own canon. It really does goes against its own canon. to hear them say they can fly now, especially Finn, one wonders, is the producer, the director, anyone paying attention to their own canon, their own continuity? And so it's very ironic, and it's very, I wouldn't say disturbing, but kind of humorous to see that being displayed on their own stream, their own social media, and all of us fans who know the lore, and even through Clone Wars. So like if you didn't really expand yourself through the Legends or the original EU, but you're an avid Clone Wars with Filoni, you understand that the jetpacks were used, just as well as if you basically expanded your knowledge throughout the whole entire original EU, the Legends. You understand that the evolution of the clones, from, you know, the idea of the Mandalore armor and their jetpacks and all that, and the use of them even prior, all the way up to being stormtroopers and their specialized you know, commands and stuff. It's just unreal, and it just shows the irony of Disney Lucasfilm. All right, let's look at Benjamin here. Okay, we have some few comments here still, so let's go ahead and then we'll close out. So it's almost time. I just wanted to expand a little bit more on the jetpacks, the lore on that, just to show like a list of books from both canon and Legends on how they are in the lore, and how this basically shows that Disney Lucasfilm has no idea which way they're going, and it goes basically into Kathleen Kennedy's her interview, saying that there's no source materials. You know, so again, it's ironic. All right, so Benjamin, okay, he's talking to Sanjoro. Let's go up here to Tommy. Let's see here. All right. Stormtroopers had jetpacks back in Jedi Outcast game in 2002. At the very least, that's earliest one in the game, in a game. Okay, yes. I just need to get back into gaming. All this, and then just even if it's just Star Wars gaming, I used to get back into gaming. I had such a good time doing that. I just, life got busy, and I put down and stepped away from gaming, and here I am right now. And one of these days I'm going to bring on some gamers here so we could talk about all the Star Wars games. So I might be hitting some gamers up. All right, let's see here. All right. So, all right, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're about coming to a close. And again, you know, there's, the more we get closer to the episode 9 and what they're showing us and revealing to us, and whether it's their own mistakes with JJ having an actor or actress having a script, you know, leaked or on eBay and almost sold, to even Kathleen Kennedy saying there's no source material, to even this clip shown on Star Wars and showing the characters that basically saying that, oh, they can fly. Basically, it's just, it feels like it's a whole mess. It feels like they took something golden that, you know, George's team, his franchise, took many years to develop and, you know, kept track of. And that's not a small task, to keep track of such a long history and lore, and to try to keep it seamlessly and coherent into the movies and into each other. And they just tossed it out saying there's no source materials. And now they reveal that they have no clue that there were jetpacks. So ironic, yes. They own Star Wars, yet know nothing about it. That's true. And that's why I'm here, you know, just to share the lore, to keep everybody's interest. You know, come back and read Legends as well. There's great stories in there, and you can pick your era and read from there. So if you're Old Republic, start there. If you want to do classical period, which is the OT, go there. If you want post the Return of the Jedi, then you have the New Republic, you have Legacy of the Force, you have Fate of the Jedi, are basically the legacy period there. Let's see here. I wonder where all the people that claimed JJ would save the franchise at now. And I'm not a Star Trek fan, although I did grow up watching it with my grandmother. She was a big, huge Trekkie. And so I watched it because when it was on, that's all we had to watch. You're not going to tell your grandmother change it. You ain't going to do that, or you're going to suffer the consequences for that. And so hearing what JJ did with Star Trek, I'm not surprised with what's going on right now. And they put so much trust into him. I think it was a big mistake. And many people are like, oh, yes, like Tommy said, he's going to save Star Wars. But Star Wars never needed to be saved. Star Wars was great. Even when there was no movies, even between the OT and the prequel trilogy, we had the novels, we had the games, we had the comics. And that's what kept Star Wars alive and thriving. And then they just discarded it, now saying there's no source material. All right. Adieu, folks. Just lost my starboard stabilizer. I can't do anything more than for you. Sorry. All right. And lens flares everywhere. Yes, Soul Assassin. All right. So again, thank you so much. You guys have a great Thursday or Tuesday. See, look, I'm already thinking it's Thursday. And have a great Thanksgiving, however you celebrate it. I'm going to have family over, and so I'll be cooking and doing all that fun stuff and enjoying family and friends. And I probably have a lore video up instead of, of course, a coffee chat. I still plan on doing the nightcap here. I'm just going to have to schedule it for next month. And I'm going to have someone on as, or maybe a couple people on with me discussing Star Wars lore. And then also too, coming in a week, probably, I will be on with Abu Nas, and we're discussing Revenge of the Sith, reviewing it, discussing it, going through everything that makes it great in the lore. And so you guys, please, I will send out a link for that. You guys come join us, get in the chat, let's discuss it. And again, I am thankful for all you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you for following me. Thank you for participating with me on this last minute coffee chat. Have a great day.